good stuff, put this to their choice. And I think that's going to be a little awkward because it's a combination of our friends at Power Up Audio and also our illustrious event director, Cool Maddie. But we'll see if we can get their thoughts on where they want this to go.
All right, so this is Mark the Ninja. I am Vyreck, and I am joined by Gramelios, who is my backup couch at the moment.
I'm here to help you.
Time actually starts when I start moving, so 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so getting into this real quick, there is quite a lot of minor movement tech that I'm going to be doing that's usually going to be invisible. The simplest thing being that jumping pretty much interrupts every animation in the game at different timings, so it's just a matter of finding the instances of, like doors have different ones than levers and things like that. As you might have already noticed, I'm not being seen by the guards, and you might be wondering what the category represents on the side there. No out of bounds is pretty self-explanatory. What obake, it's Japanese for ghost, which the guy who invented the category thought was cool. Essentially, I cannot be detected by any guards, and I can't kill any guards. And the no out of bounds, essentially, pretty self-explanatory, but I can't clip out of any of the walls. And that's a bit of a gray area in this game, because in the late game, we do get a short-range teleport. So what essentially counts as a barrier is kind of a weird... it's kind of hard to define, but we essentially define it as anywhere that you can't get with Serenity by like bypassing stuff or by blatantly clipping through a wall.
If you look closely, you'll already notice Vyreck doing a lot of small, along with just the general jumping strats. Part of that has to do with something called a ledge skip, right?
Ledge cancel.
Ledge cancel, where it's a bit faster to jump up around ledges rather than letting the ninja climb up around them more slowly. Like you mentioned, there's lots of small tech throughout the whole run.
And so like you can see like here, I'm skipping a lot of the event animation. Okay, I was going to do that one time. It's slightly faster. And so that's a great example. So every time I'm seen like that, I do have to do a reset. And as an incentive for it, I'm going to donate $2 to every mistake I make. And Grim back here is going to be keeping a tally mark for me, so that's why he's got the pen and paper. And since the game has no save files, so they have no way of undoing, like if I finish a level and were to find out that I was seen even though I didn't notice, or there's a checkpoint I have no way of undoing, that'll be $20 if I invalidate my run. Hopefully that doesn't happen though, because the run looks really cool. Oh, he didn't see me, that doesn't count. So during this actually end cutscene, I'm locked out of controls, and they can actually still turn around and see me. So I actually get under the level. That's a trick I found. Or under the vent, I should say. As for what's going on in the game, so that's Azai. I just freed him from Karajan and his goons who attacked the dojo. I am the marked ninja, which I basically get this tattoo which with fancy ink that is slowly driving me insane, but is giving me all sorts of fancy abilities. That counts as an alert.
Gotcha. Should we say a word about the vision cones?
Yeah, so you'll see guards obviously have a vision cone in front of them at about a 90-degree angle. What that is if I walk into that under any circumstances, light or dark, that's an interesting cycle. This will be hard. Shout out to On the Fly. Also, Two Bird, kill the animals. But yeah, so they have a 90-degree cone in front of them that essentially, if I hit that in any state or if I run into them, they will auto-detect me. There are ways to mess with that. If I throw a dart at them as I'm going through, they kind of lose their collision for a moment. But also, as you see I jump there, they also have about a 45-degree angle cone that's invisible that goes for about half the screen. And what that does is if they see me in light inside that cone, they'll detect me. And what I'm doing here is a 4-frame trick to essentially get past this laser without interacting with get it into the vent without interacting with the laser. And the game does run at 60 FPS, so that is a 1/15 of a second. Graham, did you think of anything I missed?
Did we explicitly mention the sound waves?
Oh, no.
I
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
describe that if you want to, sure. So as you see the ninja running around, you'll see these gray little circles popping out. Those represent sound waves. And
One.
the gray ones just are general sound. The yellow ones explicitly mean that he's attracted the attention of a guard, not to the point where he's alerted, but to the point where guards will start looking in that direction, start walking over and actually trying to investigate. So the game kind of has it in there as a visual clue to help you know when you might be in danger.
This door is just not playing nice for me.
He makes footsteps by doing different actions, but especially by sprinting. So obviously sprinting being faster, but it generates more noise. Later in the run, there's going to be a way to get around that, where you will no longer make any noise by sprinting, but we can say more about that later.
So you saw me 3 times, by the way.
Yep, I gotcha.
I reset that checkpoint to reset this hallway slightly, but also by sprinting right as I reset it, I get 2 free sprint footsteps, and that's basically the timing I needed to get behind that guy. And so that's an instance of essentially by staggering him as I threw that dart, I basically removed his detection box for probably a quarter second. Not a great level 2, but essentially next level is when we get smoke bombs, and that's when the game starts to fall apart.
If it wasn't obvious, some smaller movement strats, jumping up walls a bit faster.
I think it's 4-bird right now.
Yep, forwards.
Okay. And so this is the score screen. If the bottom 2 rows are crossed out at all, that invalidates the run. One of those is no kills, and one of those is no detection. And with the reason I say that is because among the fact that there are 2 scripted kills in the game, that is the only way to advance the level, but they don't count. There's also an instance later in the game where essentially by accident there can be a kill that doesn't attribute to me. Or more detrimentally, there are a couple of instances where the game will say I got detected even though I wasn't. And so we have to kind of work around those in a couple of instances. The first dog that I passed in this level actually is one of those. Dogs don't count as alerts because they can't make phone calls. But that dog, for whatever reason, does count. And I learned that about 2 weeks ago in a race. And after I was about 3 levels behind, I basically said, I think I know what happened. As I'm coming up here, Graham, you want to talk about the 3 cycles in the game?
Sure. Are you talking about the sequence break coming up?
Well, that, but also, I guess I got it. So there's 3 instances of how cycles work in this game. Obviously, there's global cycles, and I don't really know what triggers a couple of those. This is an example of like a checkpointed cycle. So when I hit this courtyard for the first time, it plays this cutscene, but all those guards are walking, and their position at the end of this is identical based on the delay that, and since you'll see it now, they're all in a different spot because the game was moving them during the cutscene, and so that reset is like 4 times harder. So getting that reset in one try is awesome. So this guy's especially good at his job. We'll make fun of him for a sec. If I didn't trigger that checkpoint and reset it fast enough, he would stay awake right now, and this door is a nightmare in that case.
There's a light right in front of that guy, which makes it difficult.
So this is smoke bombs. They break quite a bit in the game. They can prevent guards from seeing me, and they can obviously prevent lasers from working. Except for the first pixel of a laser, which always exists, and if I run into that, it will automatically kill me. And there's a point coming up that actually that could happen. Hope it doesn't. But Grim, do you want to talk about this for a sec?
I would love to. So what's happening here is we're trying to track down Karajan overall, which is the guy who coordinated the attack on the dojo. There's this guard walking around who is going to go get a tracking device, which is going to allow us to find cars, and that's the overall goal here. So you have to stay relatively close to this guy and kind of track him as he moves without getting alerted. The first thing that Vyreck did is throw a dart to kind of alert the guy a little bit so that he draws his gun, which makes him move a little bit more quickly. So that in itself obviously will get the courier to where he needs to go faster. But it also turns out that it's going to have a nice side effect of when this guy gets into his room, the game's going to kind of not load all his follow-up animations correctly, and he's going to go and start typing at this computer, and he's just going to sit there, which makes him trivially easy to walk past.
Wait. Okay. I need an audio cue there.
Mm-hmm. The other piece is that in order to get to this guy once he goes into the room, and correct me if I'm wrong, Vyreck, you're supposed to have to go around this whole sequence of rooms and basically come up into the room, but you're going to be able to stand in the doorway.
I'm going to cut you off a second. I may have an off cycle that I need to account for in a second.
Sure.
I think I did. I knew this was going to happen on stage. Lucky me. So this is my backup that hopefully works, basically. Normally, he gets here right as I'm jumping over this guard on the right of me. But for whatever reason, once in a while, he's maybe a second and a half late. And if I'm not very careful, that forces me about a 90-second reset. So I'm back on route, but there was about a 10-second loss there. Anyways, this is pretty standard. I'm just doing a sequence break at the moment. So Vuligen, if you want to take over a couple donations, go for it.
I'm more than happy to do so. We've got a couple from some Mark of the Ninja friends. We've got $25 from Akitaka1.
Shout out to Akitaka.
It says, good luck, Vyreck. It's great to finally see Mark of the Ninja in the spotlight. If this donation is read, Vyreck will have to do an inverted controls race once he gets back from SGDQ because of a bet. Donation goes to Runner's Choice.
Kill the animals.
Kill the animals, indeed. We have $100 from Space Geek.
Okay. Got that out of the way.
My favorite speedrunner Vyreck has ever done is still Beacon's Perch to Draknar's Forge in Guild Wars.
That is not an easy run.
May have actually been his first speedrun. Long live Sir Speedy the Pure.
Shout out to my cousin and our old days of running in Guild Wars. So Akitaka, he had that first donation there. He actually has the world record in a couple of categories. He's recently retired now, unfortunately. But found a couple of glitches later that kind of shredded this category. And the Seals and Scrolls, which is the closest thing we have to 100%. Okay, I think it's 7 bird right now.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I think birds stopped showing up now, so I might have to stop at 7, but that's a lucky number, so I'll go with it.
From now on, at the start of every level, Vyreck's going to be able to select not only his costume, but for the time being, 1 distraction item and 1 lethal item. That will change a little bit later.
All right, if anybody's paying attention, I don't have a HUD. Oh, shoot. Okay. This doesn't count as an alert, but it does lock my screen because those rats did that. And it makes getting out of this room notably harder. I could have been already down the hallway if I hadn't done that. But I don't have a HUD right now because there's a 6-frame window at the start of this level that you could jump over like a 20-second cutscene trigger. But I have to be very careful about which items I'm using because this level is solved for every smoke bomb available.
We've got pipes, vents.
And you'll see why in a second. Awesome.
You're trying to blow up this whole place?
Yeah, so I cut that thing there, and you'll see me do it again. That releases gas out into the vents, and so I'm going to drop something down the elevator shaft that's all covered in sparking wires and stuff. And what that's going to do essentially is trigger all the gas that I'm releasing from these vents on the side levels here. But it turns out the building's basically made of like C4 and, like primed hand grenades. So all I have to do is just get on the roof and do that.
While climbing this tunnel, Vyreck's been reloading checkpoints intentionally because it's faster than waiting for the smoke bomb's cooldown to reset.
2 on that is really good for me. That it's kind of a joke in the Mark community that elevator, that laser specifically, just doesn't like me. so I'll take it. But so essentially, you have to open at least 3 vents before you can finish the level, but I'm obviously finishing at 0. So that's, I believe, the shortest level in the game. All right, so now that we've managed to draw out all the guards to try and get an opening on Karajan, we're going in to find him. And what's actually going to happen at the end of this level is we're going to find Kelly, his like super bodyguard.
Make sure no one comes back in.
I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so we're going to find Kelly, the super bodyguard, and so while we're here, we're going to take him out instead. And this is going to be the first instance of a scripted kill. That will not count against me, but there's no other way to end the level.
There's going to be 2 in the entire run.
And Bill. We do kill Bill, but that's due to a side effect.
Okay.
And quickly.
I'll introduce Bill later.
Distract his guards.
We named a couple people who are particularly keen at ruining our runs. Percy was in level 1. He's a guard that can see through the floor. So he's a very perceptive jerk. But didn't have trouble with him, and I'm glad. Yeah, I figured that was going to happen. What's my score at right now?
10.
Really? Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, it's for charity, so I can't complain. Village, you got like time for one?
Sure. I've got $25 from BioSpark45. Stayed up late to make this donation during the Mark of the Ninja run. Love all the work you guys do. Donation goes to Runner's Choice.
Awesome. Love hearing fans. This is one of my favorite games. And so about last SGDQ, I finally got around to saying, like, yeah, I'm going to try that, because I tried running in the past and just never dedicated to it. And so this category actually didn't exist a year ago. Why did I do that? It had plenty of instances of people like trying it out and just never finishing it. And so me and another guy, Coop DeJarnak, just kind of started routing it after GDQ, and shortly after, the game likes to switch the items you have equipped. We don't know why, it just does. But shortly after that, Emlyn, the guy who has the world record right now, and Akitaka, who I referenced earlier, both joined in, and the 4 of us really started routing this out. And ironically, our original target time, before we even counted the record, was my estimate at the moment. So there's been huge leaps and bounds found to really optimize this, as well as glitches that entirely changed the new game categories of this game, which is pretty cool.
If you didn't notice a second ago, we actually triggered a switch through a laser.
Oh yeah,
by
if you
doing a
blinked, you
cancel.
missed it.
Yeah, it's very, very fast.
Essentially, the game knows I hit the switch, but it didn't realize that my model was near the laser. And by getting through this door past the sniper, I just sequence broke a fair number of side rooms, actually.
If you don't show yourself, how can I thank you for making us look like a pack of flaming idiots?
And there's one additional rule for this category, which is no gunfire. And I reference that now instead of earlier. This is the only screen in the game that it can matter, because the only other time that you'll hear a gunshot is if a guard already sees you. Let's see if that works. Okay. So this is Kelly, the big tough bodyguard, and he will automatically fire his gun at any sound. So I have to be very careful about how I lure him into this to stun him so I can get the kill. And that's the trigger to end that level.
Nicely done.
And so you may have seen briefly little white circles popping up on the sidelines, and there was one just there. Those are seals, and by unlocking those over the span of level, I have now unlocked the stealth suit because I've gotten all 3 stealth seals in the game so far. Shocking, really, considering I have to.
This is your final mission.
And so I also just bought the speed slide, which you're seeing here briefly. Essentially, it's a attack that the game gives us to knock down guards, but by canceling the second half of it, you get the speed boost at the beginning of it, and you can chain that together for the fastest horizontal movement. And then if I drop through a grate like that, that's in even faster form. That only happens in like 5 or 6 locations. That just looks really cool. I love that routing.
Good. That got the door open.
Okay, once I get inside here, Vuligen, take over if you want. It's kind of just a lot of hallways.
Absolutely. Well, you just mentioned Emlyn, and we do have a $100 donation from Emlyn. And it says, congrats, Vyreck, for making it to SGDQ. I've been looking forward to this since AGDQ. Shame I can't be there to race you. Then again, I'd probably just mess up some greedy strats and let you win by 3 minutes. If this is red, I'm going to copy Dragon Fangs. At the end of the run, I will donate another $500 minus $20 for each unplanned reset. I have faith in your safety strats, Vyreck. Move fast and try not to breathe.
You say that as I just did another one. Okay, that was weird. He's never there.
I also do want to remind people real quick that there is a bid war for this game as well. There is a choice to either save Aura or save yourself. And just a quick check, Vyreck, when would you have that?
I'll let you know. It'll be somewhere in the probably level 12.
Okay.
Okay, I got that back up in one try, and that's really good. I will take it.
And dangerous.
So just to be clear, that gives you probably around 20 or so minutes to donate for that bid war to make your choice.
Yeah, I'm coming up on about the halfway mark right now. But yeah, just big shout out to Emlyn. He still has the record, and we found 1.5 minutes of time saves a month ago. So his original run was pretty awesome. Really great guy, but unfortunately Europe is not
We
close.
should head down to the platforms. That will be our best shot at getting to the inner keep. When this is all
I had him do me a favor and not set his own record until I can start doing RTA strats again, because I at least want to touch it before he beats me.
move fast and try not to breathe.
But yeah, so right now we're going in, we're breaking into the castle, and the easiest way to do that is to go in through the catacombs.
See it right under
And this is yet another sequence break that the game has. And I think I got the quick cycle too. I did. Missed that in practice earlier, and I was sad. So the next level is probably my favorite for really no good reason, because the end of it is brutal. But it just looks cool, and there's a long, like, flat section that I can sprint in. But it's also the addition of the flashbang. And so this level has guards that have night vision goggles, and they can see through the smoke somehow, because that's how night vision
Move
works.
fast and don't look down.
But flashbangs stun them, and since the slide cancel is actually an attack, the game wants me to be over top of the guards when I use it. And so if I time it decently well, I can actually get some free horizontal movement. I mean, it's minor, but save the frames and everything.
If you move fast, it won't kill you.
And then you'll see this kind of green smoke here. That's like poisonous gas that will slowly kill me if I'm in it too long. And that'll actually come into play later, but I'll explain that when we get there.
Nobody will notice if you ride along too.
But up here, you're going to start seeing me kind of stunning all these guards. But it's a very just long, flat for a while. So, Vuligen, if you want to do like 3 donations, you good?
3, that is a great number. I've got $25 from Arias Valar. It says, a no out of bounds mark of the ninja run. Awesome. Good luck, Vyreck. And hi, Vuligen. Hi. We have $25 from Tassimer. Hey, Vyreck, good luck on the run. I'm putting this money towards killing the animals for you. P.S. Remind me to train my dog to use the phone. And $50 from Grant P. Design. Love the idea of Super Mario World low percent run. Thanks to the commentator for the suggestion. Let's meet that incentive.
All right, so Tassimer was unfortunately my original couch crew over here, but was unavailable. So Grimelios here was kind enough to step in for me this week. So round of applause for Grimelios, everybody.
Thanks.
This jump is really hard, and I'm glad I got that.
Remember the pixel thing he mentioned, where even if a laser is blocked by smoke, the first pixel where the laser starts can still kill you. So he has to jump up and around it without
I found
touching
a
the
way
start
out.
of the laser.
It's just past the next room. But there's a
And
rusty
like every
gate
other puzzle in the
behind
game, that's not the intended
it. There's a
route.
way to open it from your side, but be ready. When the racket starts, every guard down here will come running.
So obviously, you can't have a good speed run without an auto-scroller, and this game is a number of them. But this one is particularly notable because this game doesn't even scroll. It just stands here. So Vulichin, go wild for a little bit.
Oh man, I would love to. You guys keep the donations coming, so I have something to read for the next few moments. I've got $75 from Not the Droid. Super Mario World needs donations. The fires are lit, and Rohan will answer. $25 from Magimaster. Let the nearest member of the tech crew decide where this goes. And $5 from Lesrek OP. This game looks so full of little intricacies that make it a very good speedrunning game. You seem to have the tech down good. Keep up the good work. P.S. Love your stream, Grim.
Thank you.
All right, so right here I'm going to reset the checkpoint, and that just teleports me to the reset location, like one floor up. In a second, I'm going to do a little elaborate form of AI manipulation because, as you see, there's all this smoke kind of being pushed in at the bottom, or they're about to. But there's dogs walking around, and the game tries to be humane about the fact that you are just going around murdering people, but you don't kill dogs. You knock them out with a karate chop, which would seem, you know, all nice and save the animals and everything, except if I let this go unassisted, the dogs will actually be knocked out, as you see right there, by their own gas. And the game doesn't differentiate between me doing that and the gas doing it. And so even though nothing would happen, a guard would see them and would attribute it to me and automatically force me to fail the level. And so forget that. I'm basically messing with all of their cycles with that one dart throw. But this is why we don't show mercy to the animals. If anybody's familiar with the game, I just bought what's called Ravenous Insects. Grim, you want to talk about what that is slightly?
Yeah, Ravenous Insects is a purely lethal item. It's an insta-kill if you throw at an enemy. So you might be wondering why in a pacifist run you would want an item like that. And
That comes in another level.
yeah, we'll see more about that later, but there is a very good reason for it.
Actually, two reasons. As of a recent glitch found by, yet again, Akitaka, who's part really good runner, part really, really good glitch hunter. So, love you, man. It's been great. So these are elite guards. In order to kill them, normally you'd have to stun them first, and like you can't sneak up behind them, and they're really, really tough to get around and things. But turns out you can jump over them too, you know, like everybody else. But this guy's not scared of ninjas, except that's about all of the dialogue he ever gets through. Turns out he also knows lots of martial arts, but we don't get to hear that.
Is that a focus jump right there?
Yeah, so that was a focus bounce, one of the first instances of it. Basically, if I... first of all, this checkpoint, if I hit it from the right wall, I fall and keep sliding left. That's why I came from the left side.
Take out the pilot.
It's one of two walls that do that. But the focus bounce is essentially if in the apex of my jump, I focus to stop the time and throw an item, the throw animation gives me just a couple, probably a half body height of extra that, since the game constantly is assisting you for certain surfaces and things like that, we use it typically to get up to ledges you can't reach normally. But for that, I actually used it to get vision of the grappling point that was essentially blocked by a corner.
Karajan's corner. It's time to finish him.
And now we're moving towards Karajan. What you had to do there is shut off power so that he couldn't, or was it gas?
We stopped the fuel pump so his helicopter can't fly away, so we basically got him cornered at this point.
The other option is to murder the pilot, but you can't do that in this category.
Which is a shame. It's so much faster. You just throw bugs at him, and he instantly ends that section. So for this level, there's kind of two parts to it. Part one, we have to go get 2 keys to get access into his
Keys to get in.
like inner keep, essentially. And then the second part, we have to basically break into the actual keep proper and go through a big zigzag of like turning off security measures and turning off a generator. But then that unlocks his panic room, and a bunch of guards flood the building, and lights come on. It's a whole fiasco, and it's very RNG heavy. So I'm going to let Grim talk about what I'm about to do instead.
Sure. What it is really fascinating. First of all, what the skip is a way to take those ravenous insects, the lethal item he bought before, and he's going to glitch the game into throwing them through a floor, at which point they're going to eventually hit Karjan. That's the trick in a nutshell. Like Vyreck mentioned, it's going to skip not only 3 minutes of the run, but 3 minutes of very
I didn't mention that,
RNG.
but yeah.
Oh, well, I guess like I mentioned, it skips 3 minutes, and it's very RNG dependent. The way it works is that what he just did, when you focus and stop time, you can choose a location where you want to throw your item, and then you can also deselect that location if you change your mind. So at the end of this section here, Vyreck's going to focus in midair to pause time and pick a particular location to throw his ravenous insects. Then he's going to throw them and then immediately focus again to throw a smoke bomb at the exact same location, and then cancel it. And what it's going to do is the game is going to actually get confused and cancel the location trigger, not for the secondary item, but for the first item, the ravenous insects. What that means is that it's not going to trigger when it hits the spot. It's going to fall straight through the world. For any other item, that means it would just fall to all eternity, to the bottom of the universe. But these ravenous insects have a special property that they also trigger when they hit an enemy. And so the trick there is not only to get the bugs through the floor, but to angle them in such a way that you will actually hit Karjan. It's a really fascinating trick.
Yeah, pay attention. It's going to happen really fast.
If you look close, you can actually see the bugs flying through the world.
And so they just fell out the right, and Karjan is right down there. And then this gets me to the last section. That's actually a pretty easy section. This next part, first try. Okay, that's worth applause. That is the hardest trick in the game. So getting that first try is like a 2-second save from the alternative glitch. Maybe 2 seconds. But it is not only, we assume, frame perfect, but it also requires exact inputs at the same time. Like, it's not just hold right, it's like I have to tap right on the same frame and a number of other things. So that was my swag strat of the run, and I'm very glad I got that in one.
At least until we know what's really going on.
There used to be, there's a cardboard box, has a notable shout out to, obviously Snake, that is available in this level, and you'll see it on the selection screen right here briefly. But unfortunately, the strategy that we used to use with that made the section after it slower, and I am very sad to say that the box will not be making an appearance. I guess I can work with that.
They'll torture you for days and
I don't think I need that. Oh,
the wood is rotting.
I'll make it work.
The stone is crumbling.
The game likes to switch the item you have active, as I said before, and there's really no pattern to it. Just sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it goes to darts, sometimes it goes away from darts.
See a thing. There are more
So in a lot of instances, you might hear a clicking noise of me selecting the item I already have, and that's entirely as a safety mechanism. But yeah, you want to talk about a little of what I'm doing in this level?
Yeah, so the whole thing is that in terms of the plot of this game, you're this ninja, this very powerful ninja with all these marks, and you're supposed to go save the clan and then kill yourself because of honor reasons. But it turns out that this guy it's Azai, right, that you mentioned?
Yeah, it was Azai, the first guy.
Yeah, you rescue Azai, like that very first guy wearing yellow that you rescue. Turns out something is fishy and you're not really sure what's going on. So rather than killing yourself, which in the story is the honorable thing to do, you decide to continue and investigate what's going on. And so that's what you're doing here is going to investigate.
I guess they were
And specifically, you're trying to rescue Dosan, who is that other person that you just saw tied up. And to do that, you need 3 different items. You need his needles, you need the ink, and then you need the actual keys to get him free. And as a result, he's going to give you another mark, another tattoo, which is going to give you a very special ability.
Yeah, so he is the clan tattooist, and he's like the oldest member of the clan aside from Azai.
The tattoos in this game are the things that give you the powers, the marks. I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, minorly, but yeah. So it's like, that's how I can see through the walls a couple levels ago to show off the dogs. This routing looks really cool, and I cannot describe how much of a nightmare it was to get. The Jailer has been the bane of our existence in this category since day one, as you can see right there. And I call this Perfect Jailer only because it's entirely based on my movements and not the game just deciding if it worked. We used to actually get hit by a bomb and just hope we fell in the right spot. That was, well, entertaining. That's not supposed to happen. It was about as random as we could have made it. And for some reason, it's being particularly frustrating today. But I suppose, what else should I expect on screen, right?
I think you did get it first try both times. I saw you practice.
I did. I spent a long time practicing this, too.
Nice.
All right, so I got that. That's probably the worst part of this level out of the way. Now it's just kind of smooth sailing. There's one trick I'm going to do with Bob, and it looks pretty entertaining.
In an airtight chamber.
But the next section's pretty straightforward, so Fooligen, if you want to talk, go for it.
Absolutely. We've got $75 from an anonymous donor. Shout out to all the marks out there, ninja or otherwise. Here's $75 to saving yourself. And $25 from an anonymous donor. The Hisomu assault was an inside job. Save yourself. And $25 from another anonymous donor. I was literally talking about wishing this game had a no out of bounds run on GDQ today, and I couldn't be happier. Awesome stuff, Vyreck.
That's what I love hearing. I am so excited that people like this game. It's one of my favorites, and it's underappreciated in my opinion.
We also have $50 from Giant Dad 226. Loving this Mark of the Ninja run. The out of bounds runs from previous events were awesome, but the pure skill you show in moving through the guards is inspiring.
So if you missed that was Bill. I dropped the rock on him, and if I'm not careful, the game will count that as an accidental kill. For me, I actually got the points for it. But I believe since there's all these traps everywhere, the game has contingency measures for guards that just like walking into traps. And so I was off screen far enough that it didn't count.
We can't just leave.
Also, Giant Dad is a great username, by the way.
And speaking of, just to finish off Giant Dad's donation, this is a great tribute to a game that really makes you feel like a ninja. Also, save the ninjas and the animals. We get 60 more frames per second anyways.
In the shrine.
Excellent. If anyone's curious, as we're getting closer to the end of that bid war, the save the frames is the kill Aura ending, who's the girl in front of me, and the save yourself is kill Azai ending. There is only a couple seconds difference between the two, but there is there. So we do, in a normal speedrun, always kill Aura.
I pray we're as brave when we stand.
As an update on that, Save the Frames currently has the lead with $656.24. Save yourself $597, so definitely still some time to snipe.
What you're doing here is really fascinating.
There we go. So there are zones that we call blacklisted, or at least that's what I call it, and it kind of sticks. So Serenity is designed to get you into, it's a short-range teleport, as you can see there, and it's designed to get you into certain things, but the developers didn't want it to be entirely like all-powerful. So there are a couple of instances, I messed that up. There's a couple of spots in the level that they just intentionally want you to go a certain place, and so, awesome. Go for it.
Alrighty, we've got $20 from Guiltless. Donation goes towards the Family Jewels 7X soundtrack for the Crypt of the Necrodancer run on behalf of my friend Catpaw, who got myself and a few others absolutely addicted to the game. I would have made more music puns, but they're not my forte. $50 from Papa Nachos. Hey, Vyreck, remember to use your safety strats and save the frames.
Thanks, Ben. You could not have had a better timing to say that.
And $25 from Celsius. Greetings, SGDQ. Just got paid, so I thought I'd share the love. That OOT glitch exhibition sounds like a blast, so here's a few dollars to get us there. We also have $100 from Magimo. I've been watching live for 10 hours straight ever since Tetris the Grandmaster exhibition, and I still can't even. Here's $10 for every hour I've been watching. Let's hope I'm not dead tomorrow. I mean, today. All
right, so coming back where I just was, what I'm trying to do is by spamming darts here, I get on top of this roof that the section I just was over on the top there, talking about blacklisted zones. You're not supposed to be able to get there with Serenity, but I forced it to activate by kind of shuffling the item the game has me buffered. And I have to get this. Okay, I now have a checkpoint. I skipped about 7.
That looks so cool to me, by the way, when you just stop right above the spikes.
It always does. But so essentially what I did is I buffer on like the exact frame I'm going to throw an item. I pause it. I'm going to, in this case, darts. And the game knows that I'm automatically going to activate my activated item as soon as I'm done. And I switched that to Serenity here, which can't teleport to certain surfaces. It just, the game doesn't want you to do that. But if I use it queued up like that, it kind of forces my character to do that hop you saw. And by doing that, I basically skip an entire section of traps where the game is basically teaching you that Serenity can get past things like that hook. And at the very end here, I'm teleporting right now. The game figures out where I land, and the same frame realizes that I'm in the essentially the end of the level and just immediately ends it. So saves a couple seconons.
I don't think anyone would be pleased to see us.
This is the last level, so I'm probably going to cut that donation off. So what are we at right now? Well, it's the last level that I'm doing anything other than walking.
I'm reloading this for a quick update right now. I'll
All right.
get right back to you. All right, looks like it's still at about the same spot. Save the frame, 656. Save yourself, 597.
All right, save the frames. Right? I caught that?
We've used these tunnels countless times to sneak out on mission.
Oh, whatever.
But this must
But yeah, I did catch that right. It saved the frames.
Yeah, we're going to close that bid war right now, and then we're going to get you the final update in case someone sniped it.
All right, sounds good.
Right now, by the way, he's breaking back into the dojo from the beginning of the game.
Yes. So I basically found out that Azai has been lying, and so the ink that like we use for this, like the plants that created, have died off, and Azai basically forced kind of some underhanding deals to get Karajan to attack us, solely so that I would get the tattoo, and then from there. We could go attack Karajan and steal his like fancy future tech, which is why something called stalkers are about to show up, which are basically ninjas in armor, like totally not Tony Stark level armor. And so they have like sensors that they can detect you like behind them and through walls, and they have night vision goggles and stuff. It's a great checkpoint because it does that.
Before we go any further, you'll need weapons.
And if you remember, Bugs, we did weird things with them earlier, and they didn't like it, so they're going to get us back shortly. That's a particularly fun... oh, no.
Before we go any further, you'll need weapons. Old Tyra always kept plenty of at the top of the watchtower. Good old Tyra. Even in death,
I got one roof ahead of myself.
never let us down. Now we must find Azai before they find us.
Man, this area was a nightmare casually.
I could believe that. Turns out it's actually really easy to do when you know all the secrets, and you're kind of cheating. So you kind of want to go into the storage that I'm about to do?
Not much of a homecoming, is it? It's time.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I was like entranced by all your amazing moves there.
Thanks.
The Serenity storage thing coming up?
Yes.
Okay, so one of the last things, effectively the last room in the game, is this area where you get trapped and you have to activate a switch, and then you're locked in a room and a bunch of stalkers come in. And these stalkers, as Vyreck mentioned, are extremely dangerous, and they love to just spot you and are very, very dangerous. What you're supposed to do is dodge them, or I guess fight them if you want to. You can fight them, right?
Yeah, they're hard to kill. They do the same thing like elite guards do.
Sure. Well, they're very dangerous, and you probably don't want to fight them. And so instead of fighting them, we're going to do something pretty different. It's similar to, what was the thing? Mark and recall?
Yeah, hold on. First, so this is the most glitched puzzle in the game because when you reset the checkpoint, it doesn't turn off the light beams properly. But yeah, so this is what I call the prestige. It's using the effect we call Serenity Storage. Essentially, it's very similar to like Mark and Recall in Morrowind. But essentially, I queued up a teleport that I can activate remotely. And so in about 30 seconds, I can get out of that room that I just got locked
On
in.
their own after a few moments. Just hold on.
But there's a checkpoint that I just got there that didn't actually happen, so I do have to be careful here. Can I get a final announcement on that bid war?
You absolutely can. We had a $125 donation from Mukomo that put Save Yourself as the winner.
Dang it. No, saying that is I have to replay this section. I'm now actually locked in the room because that guy decided to turn around. So Save Yourself is the ending?
Indeed.
All right, so that is the Kill Azai ending, which is minorly slower, but not by too much to really fret about. I'm just disappointed I messed up that trick. Although you can see how crazy some of these stalkers get to me in a second.
It's open. Get out there.
Well, now that checkpoint actually exists, so there's that. Shout out to literally the last guard in the game who does that to me like 1 in 10 runs. All I had to do was that. Okay, so the last level is a 2.5-minute auto-scroller of kind of just holding right.
Now nothing's
So it's a bit of a surprise. Vulijan, do you want to do blindfolded, one-handed, or two-player, one-controller?
Oh, man.
Be quick.
Ooh, 2-player, 1 controller. Let's go.
All right, Vulijan, get up. Or Grimelios, get up here.
This is a surprise to me, too, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't tell either of them about this. Just hold right.
Okay, it's really
Okay.
technical.
Yep. I also didn't tell him that if you said blindfolded, he was going to do that too.
I've done one blindfolded thing this marathon, that's fine.
Yeah, I figured you'd be okay with that one.
Yeah.
The one-handed was probably the hardest, actually. So coming up here, you'll have to hold left for about a second, and then you're going to hold right again.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll tell you when.
have any honor.
Okay, I'll pay attention.
But go ahead and just do donations. You got a while.
For sure. Well, we got $20 from Buddha. Hey, Vyreck, we're super sleepy, but this is an awesome run category, and our eyes are glued. Love from Pink/Blue Rage.
Thanks, guys.
And we had $200 from Player A plus Player B. Vyreck, your battle with the guards was magnificent. You have our gratitude. Please put this donation towards the SMW low percent
Our
run.
ancestors.
Just keep holding it.
Okay.
After this, okay, when I hit B, gonna left.
Let me down. He needs to.
And then right,
Okay.
and then just keep holding right for the rest of the level.
Okay, I can do this.
Yep. Keep going.
We have $10 from Viscosity. Always a pleasure to watch GDQ. Save the animals. The planet is going to blow up moments later, but I'm sure they'll find a way. They will manage. And we had $50 from Captain Obvious. Gotta donate to one of my favorite games in recent years. Thanks to all the runners and staff for yet another amazing event. Please place down a donation towards killing the animals. I think they took our car keys.
I'm here to help you. Rule number 1.
Real quick,
Don't get
everyone,
killed.
gotta give you a quick reminder on this prize. There's this Mark of the Ninja wood burn on the couch.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that's behind me. Yeah. So that was made by Papa Nachos, who actually donated earlier. Is a good friend of mine who is really, really good with a laser burner and also spent a lot of time on it. So big round of applause for Ben.
As a reminder, you gotta donate $25 for that. You have until the next run starts. So get those donations in.
That thing is beautiful, actually.
All right. Once the screen flashes, we'll be a couple seconds away from time. But yeah, this is basically the end of it.
You and I.
That was fun.
You got the easy job. Since we're saving ourselves, you just keep holding right.
Sweet.
I got to do all the X's.
Easiest run I've ever done.
Yeah, it's a mix-up. I have to go from B to X now.
Okay.
Yeah, really difficult trick.
I think I'm with you.
From a speedrunning standpoint, by the way, this level is brutal.
This is super frame perfect, right?
And time.
And pixel perfect. Nice.
Hey, appreciate the help.
Oh, no problem.
So what was my time?
You finished at 48 minutes and 35 seconds.
I wanted to be sub 48 at least. Oh, shoot. Oops. I'm not replaying the last level.
Don't forget to buy the item you need.
Yep, I was just about to do that. Thank you. So this is just a real quick glitch that I think a lot of people are really going to appreciate before I head off here. So this is backcloth that we... Come on, okay. So backcloth allows us to fly by just kind of combining a couple things. But so Akitaka, who is our go-to everything glitch hunter, found something called dumpster diving, where you can get this thing to kind of bounce around its position. But I found one recently that I don't know if anyone in the Mark community has seen before, what I call boxcar racing. That's part one of like 3 things that I get to show off here.
But it's under
This is actually like the start of the next level. And as far as I can tell, they literally copied it in and then just deleted the stuff around it.
Draw every guard.
Or they originally one level, perhaps. But so like all of these lasers actually exist and can trigger alarms and stuff. But if I get past this laser in a second here, things get a little different. So I just need to get off screen. And then it kind of just does this. And this is a lot of what our out-of-bounds stuff looks like. And this is actually how easy it is to get outside of the level. I'm just bad at wall kicks. I can do this. It's not live to thousands of people, I swear. Come on. This is notably harder than when I normally do this, even for me. For anyone keeping score, the goal is 2. And actually, so if you're familiar with, I'm trying, I promise. All right, I'm going to go from the other side because I don't want to run forever. Oh, I don't know if I can. So this is flying. The reason I didn't want to go from this direction is entirely because the camera freaks out for a second. Oh my gosh, I hit a wrong button. I swear I was almost done. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'll end it. So there's a vent that was just like way up on the ceiling. They just didn't delete, and it's just floating in the sky. But okay, yeah, that's fair. So that's Mark the Ninja. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Sorry I'm bad at my stuff.
Thank you very much, Vyreck, for that run of Mark of the Ninja. We are looking forward now to a run of Crypt of the Necrodancer, a race between Spoody Biscuit and Mudjo 2. Cadence all zones. This will be a seeded race, which means that they will be on basically even footing in terms of